Welcome to Left Back in the Changing Room.
Hey!
Hello, listeners. It is, of course, Left Back in the Changing Room, the number one fantasy Premier League podcast, brought to you by myself, Jimmy Ferguson. I'm joined today by a star-studded crowd. They've all come in for the penultimate last but one episode. All the way from LA. He's checked out of his boat. He's had a cutthroat shave. It's Captain. Hello, Captain. How are you?
Good evening. Hello, gents. How are we? All good?
Captain, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Certainly
been a
has.
while.
Certainly has. Your team, you've still been plodding along. We're going to cover that shortly. I've got Ricky Pellegrini from his Manhattan penthouse. How are you, Ricky?
Not too bad, thanks, Jimmy Fergs. Just happy to be here. Happy that West Ham still in with a chance for staying up. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
Yeah, it's definitely heating up down there, isn't it, on the relegation front?
Yeah.
We've also got NVD. He's joining us.
So, boys,
How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
You had a
Still-
champion's background. He's taken it down just because they're out of the FA Cup.
We've got to let someone else win one trophy, right? We've won
True.
the big one.
It's true. I mean, the league's over for you, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. It's just a training ground exercise. It's pre-season, mate. Pre-season.
Fantastic. And listeners, we are absolutely honoured to be in the presence of a superstar. It is, of course, Patrick Vieira.
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 I heard there's going to be free appetizers. That's all I'm here for.
That was last week, mate. Oh,
missed
dear,
it.
you got your dates wrong.
Sausage rolls. We had sausage rolls and everything. Scotch
Had a
eggs.
blinder last week.
Oh,
Did 3
good stuff.
episodes in a row. Yeah, really good. Yeah. Bit of horseradish sauce on the old beef. It was
Yummy.
great fun. Okay, so listeners, thank you for joining in. It has been a interesting few game weeks. So the last game weeks we've had 33, 34, 35. 36 is currently underway. So listeners, just to give you a quick rundown of the agenda, we're going to start with the NYC Brit Street Boys League and give you an update on where everyone is in that. We're then going to move on to talk about game week 33, 34, 35 recap. We'll then have a one flop, one clop, and then we'll move into our second half. We've got a lovely rambling from the dugout coming in, and then we'll focus on game weeks 37 and 38, and then we'll bring you Captain Contenders.
Contenders.
So, with all that said, let's get into it. The current standings of the NYC Brit Street Boys League. You'll remember just before game week 33, Sean John McGinn fanboy, our long-term leader, was at the top. Can we have a drum roll, please? Here we go. I heard it. He's no longer top. The cream has risen. Ricky Pellegrini, that big
Hellas.
smile.
Look at that. How did-
I can't contain myself.
He was there, wasn't he? He was just sneaking ready for the right time.
It's still pretty close. The show's not over till the fat lady sings. So
You're
I
looking
don't-
pretty happy there, mate, running around the room celebrating like Cantwell in a brothel, eh?
yeah, you know what? It's funny because I was thinking about getting Antonio, but because I'm so nervous about West Ham as well. Obviously we're trying to stay up this season. I've already put him in, but yeah, it's close to the top. I think the top 6 or so is pretty close, to be honest, Jim. So it could still got a couple of weeks to go. So
Yeah, well, you are top, mate. You're 2,046 points overall. That's brought you into the top 200,000 in the world. You are top 8,000 in the US, getting back towards where you were last year, top 1,000 last year. So hopeful that you're going to be up there.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's good to be back in the top again. But we'll see the last few weeks.
You're going to do it, mate. You're going to do it. I can feel it. I can feel it here.
Rocket
Below
Man.
you, then. So below you is 26 points back now, or 28 points back, I should say. Sean John McGinn fanboy. He's sitting on 2018. I have heard from him though this week, and he has played a hand. He's played a wildie.
Did he play his Wildy? I don't think he did. Did he play his Wildy?
He said
No,
He
he
said he was
didn't.
going to. I don't think he did.
No, he didn't.
He's giving me false information.
I know.
Looking at his team, he's still got Cantwell, so he's definitely not played Wildie. He's got an awesome bench though. McGovern, McGinn, Cody.
He's all got all
Cantwell. They're all Scottish. The allegiance. So Sean John McGinn fanboy, he is sitting there in second position in the NYC British Street Boys League. Below him, Captain, you are hanging on, mate. You're not far back.
I am. I had like 2 transfers. Like I've been saving my transfers because I've used everything else up, and I actually took a hit as well. I basically went like all guns blazing and went all up front. I was like, F the defence. I need the goals. I was going on your prediction, Jimmy. You were saying there's going to be a lot of goals this week. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to blame you.
I was looking into the Mystic Meg ball as you called, mate, and I
should leave her balls alone.
I have to admit, mate, at the timing of this particular recording, I have left her balls alone. But I'm also disappointed in terms of the goals I called, because Chelsea are playing Norwich, and it's finished 1-0.
Yeah.
And, you know, Chelsea couldn't believe it. I mean, West Ham absolutely stuffed them 4-0, albeit, you know, one player scored 4 goals, which we'll get to shortly. But my call of lots of goals was really starting with that Chelsea game. So 1 goal, I think everybody's going to be a little bit surprised there. In terms of the table, though, Captain, you are sitting in third.
Yeah.
You're 26 points behind Sean the John McGinn fanboy.
Yeah,
Not
possibilities.
Far off Pellers, you know, you could still catch him. It's still there for you. You know, 54 points off of Pellers. Do you think you can make it?
I said a few weeks ago I'd be happy to keep third, and I was thinking like my team before I did like the 3 changes was I thought pretty solid, but I kind of like, you know, you get towards the end and you just like, you may as well just go for it, you know? So that was the plan, rather than settle for third, even though I was thinking third was the place to be. But I think that there's potential to get into second. So I got Martial in this week. So and I captained him.
Captained him as well, yeah.
I know. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's all fun and games. I was thinking of doing what Pellers did and get rid of Vardy and change him for Jesus, but it's just like Pep roulette, isn't it? It's like, who's he going to play? You know, like he's got the cup games coming up. Yeah. And that would have been an 8-point deficit. So I decided to just keep the 4-point deficit and just keep Vardy on and hopefully banging a goal.
I mean, I did like the analogy, mate. It's all in now, you know. It's time to get all in. It's a bit like Spurs in the Champions League last season, 1-0 down. You've got to go for it and then push everyone forward and you get caught at the break and Liverpool win it 2-0. So let's hope that doesn't happen to your team. I thought MVP would like that analogy. He is cheering as we go.
I see Vieira down at the bottom.
He is down at the bottom. But Vardy, mate, he's on form in a way. He scored a goal, although Leicester got smashed. Leicester are not on form, but Vardy scored a couple, wasn't he? He's back in the goals. So not a bad shout. But I think, you know, Sheffield United, Leicester v Sheffield United this week, 36. So Leicester will need to bounce back and they're at home. So it's not a bad shout, really. Moving down the league, below you, Captain, you said you're trying to hold on to third now. We've got a riser there. It smells a bit funny. It's the burnt sausage smell that has risen.
It reeks. It reeks in third.
Reeks of burnt sausage. What's he done to the once coveted 4th position?
Oh, help himself.
It
Honestly,
is, of course.
He soiled it.
I mean, it is, of course, Sausage Burner. He's had a fantastic last 3 weeks. He's seen himself rise from 6th to 4th, 1978. He is 14 points behind Captain in 3rd position, so he's still in there. Below him, NVD. You've slipped out of the top 4, but you know you're not that far back.
Terrible.
You're in 5th position, 4 points off of Sausage Burner, and you know all to play for still. And you had a blinding one last week. You brought in Antonio. He got you 4 goals, so he pulled you right back in contention.
There you go. I borrowed your ball and
Megan's.
There you go. Mystic Meg's balls. She's got some great ones. She's got a great pair. And there you go. Just, you know, he's actually been playing really well, Antonio. He scored, 12, 7, and then, you know, that massive haul, which I think is the biggest, maybe, individual.
It is, yeah. For the
single game week. Game week.
Didn't Aguero get 5, or was that last year?
It was 1995, wasn't it?
Alexander Arnold did have the record for this season for the highest points. I think it was like about 22, something like that. And so Antonio just edged in there with 4 goals.
Absolutely brilliant. And NVD, where did it go wrong for you though? Because you were sitting in 4th, you then dropped out, so you've had a bad 33.
Yeah, it was horrible, mate. I had an average game week 33. I think it was game week 34 was just a killer for me. I think that was like a really high scoring week for most people, and I just way underperformed. I think definitely the flopping, which we'll come on to that game week. So yeah, I think that really contributed.
The funny thing, mate, is you tanked that week. You had 51 points, but you had John Egan sitting on the bench with 50.
I know.
And Pope with 8, so it could have, you had the players, just bad first team selection, but everyone did have a good week in 34. I think, the players that came to the front were Fernandes, De Bruyne, Greenwood. Anyone who had those players had a tasty result, really.
Saying that though, last week MVD, I think you doubled my score, so you kind of came back guns blazing. Yeah. So that was.
I had to do something, like you said, Captain. The time is all in, and that's why I played my bench boost this week. I was just like, you know what, I just got to do it. I'll
bite the bullet, yeah. So NVD below you in 6th position. I did hold it briefly, I believe, after game week 34 or 35. So you guys told me, but I've never really seen proof of that. But I'm not in 6th anyway, listeners. It is Ricky's mate from pub, man of the match'em. So he's sitting in 6th. He's got 1944. We don't really know much about him other than the fact Rick met him at the pub. So I don't really know what he's thinking or what he's doing this week. He's down the pub. He's still waiting outside the pub. He's waiting for COVID to open the door. Anyhow, below him in 7th, it is yours truly, myself, Jimmy Ferg, sitting in 7th position. As I say, I moved up into 6th briefly because I had a blinding week in game week 30.
Record week.
I wasn't going to mention it, lads. I was going to remain humble, but it seems it was the highest points scored in the league for any one game week. Yeah, 114 it was indeed, mate. I'm pretty pleased with that one. It was because I used my bench boost. So a little bit cheating, essentially. Fernandes did it for me. Salah did well. Pulisic, Greenwood, Danny Ings. So some nice points there. The only problem, lads, is that I backed it up in game week 35 with consistently low 38. So back to my usual. So that's where I lost it. And game week 35, I actually was telling Patrick Vieira earlier that I did a blinding move and bought in Diop from West Ham and thought, he's going to have a great game. So I bought in Diop, and then when I checked back in the app, I forgot I'd left him on the bench. So he went and got an assist. He got 10 points, and I was going to put him in for either Arnold or Wan-Bissaka. So I sort of messed myself up there. But, we've all got these hard stories. So that's me in 7th. Below me, we've got Matty Lawless. He's sitting in 8th position. He seemed to have given up a little bit, I think, but he seems like he might have come back in for the last 3 weeks. I think he's going all in because he's put Jesus up front, captained him as well. It's almost like he's given you his password to you, Pellers, and said, here, mate, just sort it out for me. I can't just make sure I come above Patrick Vieira. He's sitting in 9th, propping up the table, Vieira. You moved off as 9th for one little moment, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I was briefly 8th like last week, and then, I don't know, it's very depressing. It's weird though, because the months of April and May, I had really good game weeks, and then I just can't move off the top of the bottom of the table.
Fraudulent slip there. I can't move off the top of the bottom. I like that. Trying to confuse everyone. Can't move from the bottom. He did move though. You're only 12 points behind Patrick Vieira, and you have brought in your secret weapon this week. He's back. He's in the team.
I just have to stick with what I know, and all these players with their fancy foreign names, I don't know, whether they're any good or not. So I'm just sticking with players that I know.
Players with non-fancy names like Bailey, who
I've tried every strategy there is, and that's what I've resulted to. Just
gone back to Bailey.
You
were looking after him through COVID. He was stealing your beer and everything, and now you've pushed him back out there, and you're backing him as well. So, what do you know that we don't? Is he fueled up? Is he ready to go? He got a hat trick last week. Is he going to bring in more of the same?
I think so. Man City have just been scoring goal upon goal upon goal. So I think apart from the FA Cup, they've got nothing really to prove. So I think they're just going out there and having fun and just absolutely walloping these teams. Yeah, and Sterling's just come back. He had a nice long break, so it's almost like they're playing as if it was the start of the season again.
Yeah.
So I've doubled up on Man City, and I brought in 3 Man United players too, because they're really on form as well.
That's a good point. Yeah, both of the Manchester clubs are on form, aren't they? I mean, if you, like I say, Man City, they've scored what in the last 3.
Still didn't win the title.
Still didn't win the title. Very true. But
You have to get in there.
It took a while, didn't it?